Alicia Monroe never thought she'd be lying in a hospital bed with two newborn babies she wasn't meant to raise. At 33, her life had already been through enough. She was a college dropout, a woman recovering from a rough divorce, and working night shifts as a janitor at the city courthouse. But what truly defined Alicia wasn't the struggle, it was her heart. So when she came across a flyer at her clinic about becoming a surrogate for a couple battling infertility, something deep inside her said it was meant for her. Before we move on, please let us know where you're listening from. The couple, Bradley and Charlotte Whitmore, were wealthy, white, and well-mannered. Alicia, a single black woman, came from modest means, but none of that seemed to matter in the beginning. The agency managed all the contracts. During their first Zoom call, Charlotte had cried. Bradley promised they'd remain in close contact throughout. They sent her thoughtful gifts, paid for a personal nurse, and even signed her up for prenatal yoga. Whatever keeps you comfortable, Charlotte would often text, "We're so thankful." Alicia believed in their sincerity. Though the process was draining emotionally, it progressed smoothly. At 10 weeks, Alicia learned she was carrying twins. The Whitmores were ecstatic. By the 20th week, she shared ultrasound photos, and in return, they mailed her a silver necklace with two tiny engraved footprints. Alicia hadn't expected to feel a connection, but she did. She sang lullabies to the babies at night. She smiled with every flutter, every little kick. "They're not yours," her sister once warned. "Don't grow attached." But Alicia would quietly place her hand over her belly and say, "I know." Her contractions started 2 weeks early. In the middle of the night, she was rushed to the hospital, heart pounding, barely managing to dial the number the agency had provided for the Whitmores. It went to voicemail. Again. And again. Still, she told the nurses, "The parents are coming. Please page them. They'll be here." But when labor began, she was completely alone. Charlotte wasn't there to hold her hand. Bradley wasn't pacing nervously outside. Only the hum of monitors and the calm voice of Dr. Nathan helped her breathe through the pain. At 4:18 a.m., the first baby, a boy, entered the world with a gentle cry. His brother followed at 4:20 a.m. Both were healthy. Both were beautiful. One was wrapped in a white blanket, eyes open and serene. The other, she held close to her chest for just a moment before the nurses carried them off to the infant care unit. Exhausted and trembling, Alicia asked one question through her dry lips. "Are the parents here?" A nurse shook her head. "No word yet. But we're still trying." Time blurred. Alicia drifted in and out of sleep, pain aching through her bones. When she awoke near noon, she asked again. Still no news. By the evening, the hospital staff had grown noticeably quiet. Some nurses avoided eye contact. Finally, Dr. Nathan entered and closed the door gently behind him. "Alicia, there's something you need to hear." She sat up slowly, face pale. "The Whitmores haven't answered. We've called every number. The agency hasn't been able to reach them either." "What do you mean?" Alicia asked. He paused. "They were meant to be here at delivery. Their legal representative contacted us. They're declining responsibility. They asked us to stop calling." The room spun. Alicia's lips parted, but no sound came. "They said the situation wasn't what they expected." "What does that mean?" she rasped. Dr. Nathan sighed deeply. "All we know is they were informed about the birth and requested photos. After seeing them, they responded via their lawyers saying they no longer want custody." Alicia felt like ice had been poured down her spine. She thought of the boys, the one with a dimple when he cried, the other with his tiny fist clenched like he was already fighting for something. "What happens now?" she asked. Later that night, Alicia stood by the nursery window, staring through the glass at the two sleeping infants. One wore a lavender onesie with cartoon cars. The other was swaddled snugly, his hand resting on his brother's chest. They looked peaceful, perfect. Two little boys who didn't ask for any of this. A nurse approached. "They haven't been given names," she said softly. "You're listed as the gestational carrier." Alicia stayed quiet. "Would you like to hold them?" the nurse asked gently. Alicia paused. She wasn't supposed to. She'd signed all the right paperwork. She was just the vessel. But her heart had already crossed a line long ago. "Yes," she replied. A few minutes later, the nurse returned and placed both babies into her arms. Alicia sat in the rocking chair, tears rolling silently down her cheeks as the twins nestled against her chest. The white couple she had trusted was gone. The system had no plan, and these two warm, breathing miracles had no one but her. The next morning, a social worker came. She spoke kindly but formally. Temporary guardianship, foster care options, legal procedures. Alicia rocked the babies and said little. Then she asked, barely above a whisper, "So what happens to them now?" That night, she barely slept. The room was still, but her thoughts were racing. She sat with the boys sleeping on her chest, still without names. Letting them go into the foster system hurt in ways she didn't expect, but legally she had no claim. The contract had spelled it all out. She was just the carrier. Yet they looked like her, not just their skin, their lips, their ears. One of them had a birthmark that matched her nephew's at 6 a.m. She asked a nurse for a mirror. She stared at her reflection, then at the babies. The resemblance was too strong. She grabbed her phone and called the agency. No answer. She called again. Emailed. The next morning she showed up at their office, pushing the twins in a borrowed stroller. The receptionist blinked. "Alicia? We didn't expect. No one has responded to me." "I'm sorry," the woman said uneasily. "The Whitmores terminated everything. That's all we know." Alicia's jaw clenched. Something's not right. "These babies," she pointed at them, "they look like me. You mixed something up. You used the wrong donor." The woman froze. "You did, didn't you?" "I want DNA tests." Alicia found a lawyer, pro bono. In 3 days, DNA samples were collected from her and the twins. The Whitmores refused to cooperate. 10 days later, the results arrived. Alicia was 99.98% biologically related to both babies. It was a clinic error. The anonymous donor had been her. She hadn't just carried them. She had given birth to her own sons. The agency scrambled to avoid liability. The Whitmores claimed ignorance. But the court didn't buy it. Alicia was granted full legal custody. Even the judge smiled. A nurse cried in the gallery. Alicia named them Elijah and Isaiah. Life didn't get easy. She returned to her courthouse job after 2 months, working nights and pushing the twins around in a second-hand stroller. A co-worker watched them in the break room while she scrubbed floors. But they were hers, and that made every minute worth it. She sang gospel lullabies to soothe them. She fed them oatmeal at sunrise. Every laugh, every tooth, every new word felt like a miracle. People whispered, "2 babies? Alone? Where's the father?" Alicia ignored it. The only voices she listened to were the ones that called her mama. Years passed. Elijah had music in his soul. At 5, he drummed beats with spoons. Isaiah was a stargazer and loved science. Alicia saved every dollar. No vacations, no extras, just rent, diapers, school. She tutored on weekends. She even sold her old engagement ring to buy Isaiah a laptop. She never spoke of the Whitmores. Not at first. When the twins turned 7, the school held a talent show. Alicia sat front row, heart pounding. Isaiah walked on stage and read a poem. "She gave birth to me, held me when no one else would, fought for me before I had a name. My mama is not just my mother. She is the beginning of everything good in my life." The crowd stood. Many cried. Then Elijah stepped on stage, playing the same lullaby Alicia once hummed in that hospital chair. Alicia wept after the show. A woman approached her, nervous, well-dressed. "You don't remember me?" Alicia frowned. "Should I? I worked at the agency. I was there when the mix-up happened. The Whitmores panicked when they saw the babies were black, said it would ruin their image, ordered us to cut contact. I quit soon after. I couldn't forget." Alicia looked at her and said, "I don't need their apology. I got something better." She turned to watch her boys laughing in the grass. A week later, a local paper ran the story. Mother raises abandoned twins who turned out to be her own. Her love changed everything. It went viral. Producers, publishers, reporters reached out. Alicia declined all but one small radio interview. There, she simply said, "You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to choose love every single day." Years later, Elijah is on stage, flowers all around, playing piano. Isaiah gives a speech at the podium. Alicia sits in the front row, older, prouder, stronger. The boys look into the crowd and say, "Everything we are started with a woman who didn't walk away." What do you think of today's story? Please share your honest thoughts and opinions in the comments below.